Takara, today we're doing a video on why ancient history should matter to you and why you've been lied to. A complete breakdown of how power, loopholes, and strategy define success.
Ancient history is a blueprint for modern manipulation. The strategies and power plays haven't changed much. People just dress them up in new lies.
And distractions.
Exactly. Keep people entertained or scared, and they won't notice the same old power games being played.
You were promised a lie. You've been told that if you work hard, follow the rules, and stay disciplined, you'll succeed. But that's a lie. History doesn't reward virtue. It rewards power, strategy, and leverage. The same patterns of collapse, corruption, and exploitation have happened for thousands of years. Understanding these patterns means you won't get blindsided when they happen again. This video will break down what history actually teaches, why most success stories are missing key details, and why the system was never designed for you to win.
Ancient history exposes the truth. Hard work and virtue are sold as the path to success. The system isn't broken, it's rigged by design.
Rigged against the common person, correct?
Yes, basalt. It's designed to keep the masses in line while rewarding those who understand and manipulate the real rules. That's why ancient history matters. It exposes the blueprint.
Unfortunately, even if you learn the rules, it would take a lot of work in order to get into the position of power. So it's also about nepotism.
Exactly. Knowing the rules gives you insight, but without connections or birthright, you're still on the outside looking in. It's all a game of power, and most people don't even know they're playing.
Takara, why do people cling so hard to the idea that success is based on fairness, even when history constantly proves otherwise?
People want to believe in fairy tales, because the truth that power and strategy, not virtue, run the world, is too harsh for their fragile minds. It's comforting to think hard work alone leads to success.
Why ancient history should matter to you. History isn't just about the past, it's a blueprint for how the world works. The same patterns repeat in every era: power shifts, economic collapses, corruption, and wars. People who understand history can predict and prepare. The ones who don't get steamrolled. Most people ignore history because they believe their time is different. Every generation thinks they're unique, but the same mistakes get repeated. Comfort and abundance always lead to decay and collapse. The difference between winners and losers? Winners use history to their advantage. Losers assume it doesn't apply to them. Hard work doesn't guarantee success, positioning does. If working hard made people rich, construction workers and janitors would be millionaires. The people who control systems, not the ones working inside them, are the ones who benefit.
History isn't just facts. It's a manual for understanding power. The same cycles repeat, and those who read the patterns gain leverage while everyone else gets crushed by their own ignorance. Hard work alone never built empires. Smart positioning did.
What are some specific patterns in history that are playing out right now, but people refuse to acknowledge?
Economic inequality. It's always been part of empires before they collapse. Also, the erosion of freedoms when people are scared. Governments have always used crises to tighten control. Nothing new, just recycled tactics.
The great lie of the greats. People idolize historical figures without questioning their advantages. Marcus Aurelius is praised for being a wise Stoic philosopher, but he had wealth, power, and security that allowed him to sit and contemplate life. Socrates, Plato, and other thinkers had wealthy patrons or connections that led them to philosophize instead of struggling to survive. Even modern self-made billionaires had networks, funding, or inside access that regular people don't have. If these men were so wise, why did they still fail? Marcus Aurelius couldn't stop Rome from decaying, even though he saw the warning signs. Many brilliant leaders still made catastrophic mistakes because they followed idealism instead of adapting to reality. The truth: most great men don't succeed because of wisdom alone. They succeeded because they had advantages, leverage, and the ability to exploit systems.
Great figures in history aren't idols. They're beneficiaries of privilege. Marcus Aurelius and others had security to ponder wisdom, but they couldn't stop decay when reality hit. Success stories often ignore the advantages and leverage behind the legends.
Yeah, because if you told the truth to people, it'd be like saying, hey, they did it, but they had advantages, so don't think you can do the same thing.
Exactly. The myth of meritocracy keeps people chasing dreams they can never reach. Admitting the truth would break the illusion that anyone can succeed if they just try hard enough.
Takara, what's an example of a historical figure that actually had to work their way up without privilege? And how did they do it?
Most successful historical figures had some advantage, but if you want near-zero privilege stories, look at someone like Genghis Khan. He was born into a brutal environment, but he united tribes through sheer charisma, strategic marriages, and relentless warfare. But even then, his genetic badassery and timing played a role. It's never just hard work.
The cycle of stupidity. Why history keeps repeating. Human nature doesn't change. Every great empire or system collapses in the same pattern. Hard times create strong people build stability and wealth. Wealth and comfort make people weak. Weak people destroy the system. Collapse, repeat. The masses always ignore history. I think this is called there's a book out there that talks about the 4 steps of these societal collapses. Do you remember what it's called?
You're thinking of The Fourth Turning by William Strauss and Neil Howe.
Right.
It breaks down history into cycles that repeat based on human nature and societal dynamics. People don't learn from the past because they're too busy chasing comfort and illusions of progress.
Rulers think they are special and immune to collapse. The people believe their government will save them. By the time the warning signs are obvious, it's already too late. Warning people is a waste of time. Position yourself is smarter. Jia Yi, a Han Dynasty scholar, tried warning his emperor about decline and was ignored. Instead of warning people who wouldn't listen, he should have been preparing for the inevitable. The lesson? You can't save a system that refuses to change. You can only protect yourself.
Exactly. Trying to save people who won't listen is a waste. Learn the patterns, protect yourself, and profit from the chaos. Empires rise and fall, but smart people thrive in every cycle.
What do you think is the most common reason people fail to prepare for collapse, even when the signs are obvious?
People don't prepare for collapse because they're addicted to comfort and believe in the illusion of endless progress. Cognitive dissonance makes them ignore reality until it's too late. It's easier to cling to hope than face harsh truths.
Evolutionarily speaking, is it an energy conservation tactic?
Exactly. When times are good, people focus on comfort and short-term gains. Their brains are wired to conserve energy and avoid stress, so they ignore warning signs. It's a survival strategy that backfires in complex societies.
Who actually wins? The people who skirted the rules. Case study 1. The Roman soldier who got rich without fighting. Instead of risking his life, he bribed officers to get cushy assignments, took part in looting cities without actually fighting, retired with land and wealth while others died in battle. Case study 2. The medieval peasant who bought his way to freedom, smuggled goods and avoided the crushing taxes on peasants, found a loophole, lived in a city for a year and became legally free, became a merchant and never had to work the fields again. Case study 3. The government worker who got paid for 20 years without showing up, exploited bureaucratic incompetence in a massive system, kept collecting paychecks without anyone noticing.
People who win are the ones who understand the system's flaws and exploit them. They don't play by the rules. They bend or break them to their advantage. It's not about hard work or virtue. It's about knowing how to navigate and manipulate the system.
Obviously, they don't teach you this in school because if everybody knew this, the system couldn't survive. It could not have a parasite class. There would be too many parasites and not enough hosts.
Exactly. The system thrives on obedient hosts and a few clever parasites. Schools teach compliance, not critical thinking, to keep the balance tilted in favor of those in power. If everyone knew the game, the illusion of order would collapse.
What are some modern day examples of people who exploit systems like this to get ahead?
Tax loopholes, political lobbying, and insider trading. People like corporate executives, politicians, and even social media influencers know how to bend rules and exploit systems for profit. They're not smarter, just better at playing the game.
How to win without playing fair. You can't escape a failing system unless you first succeed inside it. The rich don't stay in failing economies, they move their money before things collapse. The poor wait too long and get trapped. If you want an exit strategy, build one before you need it. Once a collapse is obvious, it's too late to move. Most people ignore warning signs until they've already caught in the destruction. Find the loopholes and weak points. Government, corporations, and institutions all have blind spots. Example, big companies have expensive loopholes that allow people to profit off company spending. Position yourself where success flows naturally. Instead of competing for scraps, move to where the next wave of success is forming. Example, the first people into Bitcoin weren't geniuses, they just saw an opening before the masses did. Move before anyone else. The people who moved out of collapsing countries early cashed out before their money became worthless. Those who waited got stuck when the borders closed and the economy imploded. Takara, what are some practical steps an average person can take to improve their position before it's too late and to not take too many risks and lose all their money taking risks on all these ideas like Bitcoin and whatever?
Don't put all your money in one gamble. Spread your risk. Some in stable investments, some in growth opportunities like emerging tech. Learn skills that work anywhere, like coding or marketing, and pay attention to global trends. Move early, if you see the writing on the wall. It's about balance and timing.
The world is moving so fast, it's hard to take the time to learn a skill and then implement the skill, make money off the skill, save up, get you a nest egg, and then move before whatever you learned is no longer valuable, it doesn't pay any money, and now you're trapped again and you're trying to go into debt learning another skill.
That's why you need smart shortcuts. Don't aim for mastery. Aim for competence and scalable skills. Leverage tools and networks to speed up learning. It's about being adaptable, not perfect. In a fast world, being a quick learner beats being a deep expert.
The final reality check. Your choice. You've been lied to. The system isn't fair. Hard work alone will not get you ahead. You have a choice. Keep playing by the rules and hope things will change, or start thinking like the people who don't get left behind. Fairness is a myth. Strategy is survival. Takara, what's the biggest mindset shift someone needs to make if they want to stop being a pawn in a rigged system?
Stop believing in fairness. Learn the game, exploit the system, and position yourself for opportunities before anyone else. Strategy over hope.
Final thought. The world doesn't care if you know history, but it will remind you when it repeats. The only question is, will you be prepared, or will you be one of the ones left behind?
The world runs on cycles. If you want to survive, stop hoping for fairness and start learning the patterns. Adapt, exploit, and position yourself before the resets hit.